the continent of Africa, fierce and relentless. The thick tropical jungles, the barren sands, the heart of the bush country. For centuries it was a hidden treasure, feared and revered, buried in mystery and legend. But explorers eventually uncovered a richness that went beyond the incredible wildlife and the beautiful landscapes. It was this Africa that Edmond and Pearl Stark found when they went to Angola to serve the Lord as missionaries for the Church of God. They arrived full of hope and full of love for one another and the people of Angola. They were pioneers, strangers in a land that was untamed. But Edmond and his new wife had the message of the gospel and a burning desire to be witnesses of the power of God. But the story doesn't end in this newfound paradise. In fact, the story of the Starks covers decades and is just now being told. For each full hour of joy that the Starks had together, there was a day of grief for young Pearl. Left alone by malaria's bitter sting, her heart was filled with questions. Why? Why would God lead them here to die? Why would he leave her here alone? She felt the tug of her home in America. She felt the despair. And it was then that she felt the very real presence of Jesus Christ. Yes, Edmond was gone, but the call remained. So with great faith and courage, Pearl remained to finish the work. For years she labored, at times walking 15 miles through the bush to preach, braving disease and wild animals. She established 125 churches and mission stations with some 3,000 members, along with women's Bible studies and children's ministries. To the Angolan people, Pearl Stark's life was a testimony of faithfulness, and they viewed Edmond Stark's grave as a memorial of sacrificial love.
Sister Stark had just returned after Brother Stark's death. She returned in 1939 and was at the General Assembly in Atlanta. And in a side room from the auditorium where they had the general meetings, she was having a meeting and telling experiences of Africa and about Edmund's death and so forth. I was in the meeting and heard the testimony. That's when I attribute that God began to speak to my heart about going to Africa. I had no intentions of ever going as a missionary. During that time, God definitely laid Angola on my heart.
And it's still there.
Never gotten away
He gets very emotional when he thinks of Angola especially.
We had no direct contact until Sister Stark wrote this letter, and she began to explain and tell and the great need that was there. And her burden was always Angola. So finally, when we arrived in 1952, there was a group of people, possibly 75 to 100, standing out there expecting us any minute. So we pulled in and they started to sing. We stopped the car. There they were with the flowers. They had the palm branches and they were singing. And they sang a song. You don't mind if I sing, do you?
Go ahead.
Sois bem-vindo, sois bem-vindo.
You're welcome, you're welcome.
Campeões de Jeová.
Companions of the Lord.
Parabéns não fingindo.
Best wishes, and we mean it.
A congregação vos dá.
The congregation gives you.
I stood there by the marker of Brother Stark where his body lay, right out there in the bush. And No road leading to it, no paths leading to it. It's just a marker up there under the trees. It says in the Portuguese language, translating into English, "Blessed are the dead which die in the Lord from henceforth. They do rest from their labors, their works do follow them." It's written, engraved in that bronze marker. We talk about blood, sweat, and tears. Brother Stark shed many tears. He gave the last drop of blood that he had on the field. We have hundreds of Church of God people that have given their lives for what was started in 1938 and on into the 40s, 50s, on down to the present time. We can't give up now. There have been too many tears shed. Too much blood has been shed. Too much work has gone into it. And it is God's work. And we're laborers together with Him. He's the one that does it. But He expects us to put everything we have into it. And as Edmond Stark said, his dying words, "Lord, send somebody to take up the torch, pass it on."